Property Center, with you joining us in our interactive sessions where we have innovators, creators sit down with us and enlighten us on their experiences in their different fields, in the industries, and their experiences with the intellectual property system in Uganda, their own experiences with their rights. Today we have Kawesa Nasser, an engineer who has come to join us, and we're so privileged and happy to have him. You're very welcome, Nasser.
Thank you.
Would like to tell us more about yourself, your works in engineering.
My name is Kawesa Nasser, and thank you very much for hosting me today on your show. I'm an electronics product designer, working on a number of electronic products, and I've also had some experience with securing some of my products that I've been working on, and maybe that's what I will share with you today.
So here at Intellectual Property Center, our vision is we seek to have innovation, then innovations protected, and these innovations commercialized. That's what the IPC stands for. So tell us more about this electronic engineering. What is electric for a layman?
Electronics engineering is basically how electrical engineers adapt electronic components to come up with different devices. These can be phones, washing machines, and very many other devices that you might have come across during your day-to-day lives. Basically, they use electricity.
Okay. Tell us about your journey through engineering, your creations.
I started innovating in 2015 when I was working on a cloud-based irrigation system, which took me a period of about 1.5 years. I was looking at the whole effect of climate change, which later on didn't come to the market because of my shortcomings with financing the entire product to get it to the market, and up to now it's not been patented because of the little knowledge the public has about the intellectual property and all that. It is just in 2018 that I learned about intellectual property in Uganda, and I went to USB to try to secure the latest device that I'm trying to work on. The process is still ongoing. I hope it proceeds well.
Okay. What drove you to saying, okay, now I've learned about intellectual property, let me go to USB? What was your drive? What did you learn? You said you did not know at first. What enlightened you?
So on one evening while we were working with my team, we figured that time had come for us to launch our products.
You don't work alone?
Yeah, I do not work alone. Okay. Of course, products like this, sometimes one head can't be everything.
Okay.
You surely need to have a team for the development. I might be good with engineering, but at some point I need someone who understands business better than me to teach me the whole business model of how I can make money from my product. So how I got to USB was when we were thinking about the people that we can invite for our launch. We figured that these people were high profile people that had the capabilities of, say, moving our idea to another country with better expertise, hire them, replicate the product, bring it back to the market, and something we had been working on for over a year would have to flourish like that. So the only way we would start sharing with them was after we got at least a patent for our product, so that we are sure that we can move everywhere, say on TV, go to other sessions, and we discuss freely about our product. Because that way we would be sure that at least we have some protection. We do not have experience, we've not had stories, say in Uganda, how people have sued for their patents and been paid their claims and what and what. But we at least have that hope that we are more secure having a patent than just speaking to people without a patent, because anything can happen.
Yes, and also this patent gives you business advantage in your engineering industry. You're more competitive because the right that you are going to protect gives you an extra cover. When you're taking it to the international level, you won't just come as an ordinary engineer. You have a patent and you have a say in how far they can go with your work. Your ownership is protected.
So we have like a monopoly.
Something like that. They just can't come and start instructing you on what to do and what not to do, because it's yours. So you have a say in whatever, in how far they want to get into your project. Is it called a project? Into your project, and the same.
Oh, thank you. Because we are thinking about right after we are through with the Ugandan patent, we want to move to Kenya, because that's our immediate neighbor, and we equally identify a similar problem that we're trying to solve. So that will be an advantage for us when we at least assured of two markets. Yeah, it's better than when you're not secured for any other market.
Well, like I showed you in the act, there's also international protection that comes with this patent registration. Great. So, what have your challenges been in this industry, in your engineering industry? Someone out there is watching and trying to relate with you. What have you experienced? What have your shortcomings been? Is it easy? Is it very difficult? Has someone stolen your ideas before? Have you had rows with, since you work as a team, it's typical that there's some dispute. So has someone just carried everything and walked away with it?
For example, for this particular device we want to patent, we were going for a certain competition, and another person took advantage of our idea that we had been talking about. Now that ours was more of a hardware device, something that is tangible, this other person thought about making it in a software format. But luckily enough for us, he was rejected by the judges at the competition. For us, we went through and he didn't go through. But now that is the experience that happens, especially for people who are working in co-working spaces like the ones we have in Uganda, Outbox and the others. Yeah, so that happens. But of course, like the engineering field in Uganda is still growing. There is still a lot that we are learning, and we do not have the chance to have the test of the first technologies that are put out to market. Now, for example, talking about mobile phone technologies like 5G networks, maybe there are some innovators out there in the world that have already gotten the chance to even test with those technologies. But by the time they're going to come to us, they have already been exhausted by those people, and there is nothing new that we're going to do with them. Though we could at one point also be in the position to do something new with the new technologies that are out there. We do not have, say, manufacturers of the components that we use. So when you're working on a product that you want to roll out, maybe say in 5 months, then you need about an extra 1.5 months just to order for your components and wait for them until they
you lack the funding.
Yeah, and the time moves, and you know, sometimes innovation is like more like a fire burning in someone. That when you want to do something and you don't do it there and then, you can leave it anytime. because of the hindrances that are coming around. You might want to do it and you have the energy and the passion and the zeal at that time. So when these things delay to come, over the way you can have distractions and you get into other things. So those are some of the things that are happening now in engineering, specifically for innovators.
Okay. Did you know that not everything can be patented?
I got to know about that, unfortunately for me, because when I went to URSB the first time, I met a patent examiner. He's called Mr. Luwama. So he tried to first listen to what I wanted to patent. When we talked to him about it, he didn't tell me that he was examining me, but at some point it felt like he was being examined of what I want to patent. But at the end of the day, he told me that can be patented under something called utility models. It's my first time. We are having tough time doing the documentation because the documentation they're asking for is too detailed, and normally for us with the technical aspects, we could be good, but not so good with the documentation. And then you realize at the end of the day, maybe these other people cannot do the documentation for us because they don't know what to write there. The technical people are the ones supposed to do, because the patent is more of describing the entire technical aspects, how you achieve and how you solve the problem.
So you're suggesting that their department should recruit more technical people to assist in this registration?
Yeah, to actually give more proper guidance about how you can do this whole thing. Maybe say a more detailed document giving you examples that if you're working on something like this, then you should
in your technical language.
Exactly, in the technical language, so that we know what to describe.
Okay. Have you worked on anything? So you look at the society, you look at Uganda, you said you finished sorting yourself out. This idea has already come out in different places. But there are problems that are just special to Uganda. And then you could wake up one morning, get this creative idea, and you find a solution to this problem. Is there anything that you have worked on that in its application would solve such a problem?
For example, we are working on a solution right now for neighborhood security. We want to digitalize the whole aspect of neighbors guarding against themselves, and we believe that is currently is one of the unique problems that Uganda is having, because no one is safe today. Anything can happen anywhere. So we want to digitalize the whole old neighborhood security system, where people had to make the loud noise to call for help, and maybe figure out an electronic way of how we can help them make noise and send real-time alerts to security agencies to run to their rescue.
How is this different from alarm systems that I could install in my home?
Your alarm systems are not networked. Your alarm systems don't communicate with your neighbors' alarm systems. Now those are
so this system is going to communicate with my neighbor?
Exactly.
So what is the practicability, of this? Because if I can afford this system, how are the rural people going to say, okay, me, I can afford it, my neighbor can get it? How is this going to be practical?
Now, an ordinary alarm system in Uganda doesn't go less than 1 million. I hope you know about that. We are working on something that is very, very cheap. As cheap as, say, 150,000. And we believe that people in the villages are also going to get on board. Yeah, because that is at least cheap enough for them. and we are also making sure that they appreciate the technology, because we are going to roll out in some areas for our pilot studies, and it is from those pilot areas that these people are going to learn that our device actually works. It is in my view as a technical person, because I've taken time to assess the other alarm systems in homes, but you again realize that they are all limited to one thing, burglary. And now for us, we are looking at rolling out more services through our platform. Like you will be seeing in the future, we shall make sure that we come back to the IPC and we disclose more when that time comes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What other recommendations would you have for the intellectual property system in Uganda?
Well, the intellectual property in Uganda.
How can we improve? How can we, from your view as an innovator and from our view as an organization that seeks to uplift and uphold the intellectual property system in Uganda, what else would you say? What would you recommend if we're trying to send a message out to the legislators or to government itself?
Now, what the Intellectual Property Center can do for the innovators in Uganda is that, one, for them they're at least taking time to examine the innovations that people are working on, or what they have worked on, and they probably have a better understanding. Now, you realize that the government puts up funds for innovators, but at the end of the day, when you go back to them, their innovations are not market products, if I'm to say. They sort of still need more time to prove that. Then you realize that there are people who have taken time and worked on much better, not much better, but more marketable products. But then when they go for these funds, they don't get it. Maybe in one way, the IUPC should be able to give recommendations for people who qualify for such funds, because for them they are taking more time to examine them and understand the whole marketability of these innovations.
Okay.
Yeah. And not forgetting more sensitization, because not all innovators there know about that.
Yeah. What would you say to your fellow engineers out there? Do you have any message for them?
My fellow
Is there anything
innovators,
you want us to remember you for this show?
My fellow innovators, stay focused, don't lose hope, because we know what innovation can do. You all know that in 1999, Jeff Bezos was still in the garage working on Amazon, but right now he's the richest man in the world. So stay positive and stay committed to your innovations. One day you're certainly going to break through the market.
We would have loved to have you here much longer, but I guess it's time for us to wrap up. So here at Intellectual Property Center, this is what we do. We sit down, we talk, we interact with you, we get to know your challenges, we see how to help you where you're stuck in terms of intellectual property. We also have mentorship programs where we seek to bring different innovators or creators in a space where they can commercialize their works. So, for a better intellectual property system in Uganda, thank you for coming and sharing these views. It's been very nice to have you here. Okay, that is it for today.